Welcome back to Busted Open. Mortman, LaGreca, the great Paul Heyman. Paul, good morning. I know it's early
What's
for
so
you.
good about it?
Well, I mean, it's 6-something in the morning. You
Right.
you get up, you get going, you got to feel good.
That's like a pleasantry, right?
You get your day going, you know.
It's a pleasantry.
Wouldn't you rather get up early? The early bird catches the worm, I've been told.
I want to know. I'm still up from last night.
You're a vampire. You don't sleep.
Do you really expect me to sleep and then get up to do 6 a.m. radio?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be smarter to just stay up all night and just come in wired and with as much Red Bull and coffee that I could drink?
Well, you are in New Orleans, so I could imagine maybe some Bourbon Street for you.
You know, I have not even seen Bourbon Street since I've been here. Why would I? You know how much trouble is down there? I've been hiding in my hotel room like Batman.
That's the only thing you can do. If you're not going to go to Bourbon Street, you hide out in your hotel.
But you have enough lawyers that in case something does happen, I mean, you'll get out of trouble. What's the problem?
But what I mean, isn't just abstinence from trouble just the easy route, the path of least resistance?
Probably, yes.
Because getting locked up before WrestleMania is not a smart vocational move.
Would probably be a problem.
Where's Heyman? Oh, we should have him bailed out just in time for the match, you know?
Speaking of the match, you had 2 on last year's card. Now it's just you're the advocate, of course, for the great Brock Lesnar versus the Undertaker. Interesting build to this match, Paul. We've talked about it a lot on the show. Certain things that we thought would be mentioned, you know, the tension between Taker and Brock with his UFC days, the fact that Brock has never lost to the Undertaker. Certain things haven't been brought up as much as we thought they would be. Talk about the build for this great match.
Well, you only have so much time allocated on television. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, if we spent time saying back in 2010, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar had a run-in at a UFC event, to tell that story properly would take 2 or 3 minutes of television time. And then what points that I've made in this build-up could I not have brought up because I'm only allocated a certain amount of time on television. So if you look at the collective body of work that we had in this push to this match, tell me what you would have edited out so that we could fit the other points in.
I don't think you would have needed 2 to 3 minutes. I think you could have done it in 30 seconds, especially you. I think you could have done it in 30 seconds.
But then who would know what I'm talking about except the people that already knew it? Hey, these guys had a run in UFC. Okay, well, why should that entice me to watch the match unless I'm told more about it? It was after Brock fought Cain Velasquez. It was while Brock had a concussion. Undertaker was in the front row. He's being interviewed by an MMA journalist named Ariel Helwani. Brock is walking by this way, and Undertaker tries to pick a fight with Brock, who keeps on walking because, number 1, he never heard the Undertaker. Number 2, he had a concussion. So just to tell that story now in bullet points took me a minute. To tell it on television, you know, again, I go by the theory of if you want to promote a fight, who are these 2 guys? Why are they fighting, and why should I pay to see it? Is the argument here that because we didn't tell the audience Brock and Undertaker had a run in UFC in 2010 that they are now dissuaded from watching this match or buying WrestleMania or picking up the WWE Network?
Let's look at it from a different way, though. Is selling Brock beating the streak, breaking the streak, alone enough to sell this match at WrestleMania?
If it's not, then we're all screwed. This is the greatest threat that the streak has ever had. This is the most accomplished athlete in the history of WWE or even in sports entertainment. I mean, you can point to Randy Couture or Chuck Liddell or Anderson Silva or George St. Pierre. You can point to Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin or The Rock or John Cena. Nobody has ever been an NCAA Division I heavyweight champion, the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world, and the undisputed WWE heavyweight champion of the world. Brock Lesnar is the single most accomplished athlete or sports entertainer in history. And he's going after the streak. He's going after the most significant undefeated streak in the history of sports entertainment. 21-0 at WrestleMania. Now, if that doesn't sell a fight right there, what else can I tell you? I mean, you know, it's the old line by a wrestler who's a long guy named Dick Murdoch. You know, here's how you promote a fight. You say you respect me, I call your mama a whore, we fight.
Now, if you would have used that, then I'm buying a ticket.
Right, you know. So you know, Brock comes on TV and goes, "Hey, Undertaker, man, your mama's a whore." Oh, that's it. I got to buy this fight. Let's go, man. Here's my money. Get me the network. You know, come on. I mean, again, you know, I understand how some people envision what the promotion of the fight is going to be, but again, you only have so much time to make so many points. To me, my job in this push to the fight has been to acknowledge the fact that this is the greatest undefeated streak in history.
And you've done a great job of that.
Well, thank you. You know, but that's my mindset. Hey, listen, who are these two guys? The most accomplished athlete in history and the owner of the most impressive streak ever. Why are they fighting? Because this guy is defending his streak. This guy wants to break it. Why should I pay to see it? Because it's the greatest streak ever, and this is its most credible threat. So if Brock Lesnar is the most credible threat to the Undertaker streak, and the streak is this important, and these are the two guys that are going to clash for it, and I know who both personalities are, we've sold it. And if we haven't, then we haven't.
Last year when we spoke to you, you said that first of all, that you never thought you would be back at WrestleMania. And you said you were having the time of your life. You were working with your best friends, and you were having a lot of fun. You still feel the same way going into WrestleMania 30?
Absolutely. I can't believe I'm here in WrestleMania 30. I didn't think I'd last this year. Just
really?
The fact, oh, wow. look at my pattern of behavior over the years. I never thought I'd last another year. Of course not.
What is the timeline for Paul Heyman with the WWE? And honestly, I mean, you know how we feel about you. We think you are the best at what you do, not to steal somebody else's catchphrase.
No, but you're a good judge of talent. I appreciate it.
How much longer in the business for you? You've done everything.
Have I overstayed my welcome?
Of course not.
I mean, no, we want more. We want more.
We don't want to see you go. That's not what I'm saying.
Hey, man, you've been doing this. You know, Letterman just announced his retirement. So did Leno. You know, there's some young guys that could use the employment. Maybe you should take a Legends deal.
No, we don't want that.
No. But how much longer do you see yourself sticking around?
I don't know. If I get past Sunday, you know, then it'll be.
So as long as it feels good to you, you know, as long as you got the passion still, I would assume it's a passion thing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, no, it's an economic thing too. I mean, you know,
that helps. Sure.
You know, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar company right now, and then the stock is hovering around 30. So, it's not a bad place to work right now, and the pay is pretty damn good.
Plus, you have a gift, and you know you can. Hey, there's not enough juice to this match. Let's bring out Paul Heyman. He's
How many Jews do you want in this match?
I said juice.
Juice.
I said juice.
Oh, I didn't. You know, I mean, because you know, you got Brock, who's as close to an Aryan as you're going to find. You have Undertaker, and you know, I don't know how many synagogues in Death Valley.
I'll change the word sizzle. You bring the sizzle into a match. How does it feel to have that in the palm of your hand? To have that crowd?
Am I wrong? I mean, you're a tribesman.
I am.
You know, I mean, he said Jews.
I thought he said Jew. Actually, did you say Jews?
I said juice. But, you know, I didn't know you guys were so sensitive, so I'll try to rephrase
my question. We're sensitive people.
Obviously. I didn't know you were so sensitive.
I'm not an Italian kid from Bergen County here. You know, I'm a Jew. You talk about Jews in the match.
He said guinea pig yesterday. I was about to punch him in the face.
Well, and you should
completely
have.
untrue.
And why wouldn't you?
This is completely
come
untrue.
On. I mean, shall we wear a yarmulke out to the ring? A little davening for the Undertaker streak?
How does it feel to have 20,000 people in the palm of your hands? It needs a little sizzle to the match. We bring out Paul Heyman. You're able to have that. You have that magic. You have that art to do that. What does that feel like? And I'm telling you, talk about leaving, and we're talking about how long you're going to go. I don't know if there's anybody else that can do what you do.
It's a spiritual orgasm. It truly is. And I told the story the other day to someone who I didn't enjoy talking to, just because he was bothering me. And when I was a kid and I was taking photographs at Madison Square Garden, I got to cover a Led Zeppelin concert. Not in the back, which would have been wonderful.
The stuff they did
and corrupting and decadence and debauchery, which I ended up experiencing at Studio 54, which is a whole nother story entirely. And anyway, the original set list was that Stairway to Heaven was going to be the fourth song of the night. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in the first two songs, Plant asked the audience, what do you want to hear next? And the majority of the crowd in Madison Square Garden said Stairway to Heaven, because it was such a hot song back, 1979, 1980. And And once they knew that Stairway to Heaven was the end-all, be-all, they didn't give it to them. Led Zeppelin didn't give it to the audience.
Gotta make it wait.
So on their second encore, they came out and the spotlight hits Jimmy Page, and Page is just sitting there and, no doubt, really, really high. And he just looks at the audience and he has that, that wicked smile, and he hits the first few chords of Stairway to Heaven. And the garden just erupts. I mean, just goes frickin' crazy. And Jimmy Page just stands there, and he just smiles because he knew he owned them. And he waited and waited and waited. And it's like that Tim Curry line from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No matter how many times you see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I see you shiver with anticipation, and everybody goes, and he goes, patient, and you go, no matter how many times you see the movie, that line sucks you in, and Page just knew it, and he owned them, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and then he hit the next chords. And to me, that's power. That's every kid that says, man, I want to be a rock and roll star, that's the moment. So when you get to walk out in front of an audience, whether it's 10,000, 20,000, 80,000 people, and you own them like that, and they hang on your every word, and you can take them through a roller coaster with the blindfolds on because they don't know where you're taking them. That's a high that nothing else can give you. That's a spiritual orgasm. That's being a rock and roll star. That's owning an audience, and that's just an experience that I don't even know if the words I'm using to you today can convey the magnitude of that chest thumping that you get.
The power that we saw that sticks in my head recently from Paul Heyman was Chicago, and I'm sure many people have said it to you, what a brilliant performance it was, but you took us through that. First, the music, addressing the 800-pound gorilla in the side of the room, and you just came out and just did it. I mean, Punk wasn't there. It's his hometown. You got to address it, and you did it brilliantly. You're sitting down and, in his stance, and then you meld us into Brock and Taker. You took us on that arc, which we're looking for, and for you, that moment must have been incredible. I mean, you have these fans who who they want to see, and you're not giving it to them, and it was executed so brilliantly. I mean, I can't imagine what was going through your head. I know we were loving every minute of it.
What was going through my head was Jimmy Page at Madison Square Garden when I was 15 years old, and watching him own. Is someone wrapping you up like that?
Yeah, we're getting wrapped.
Who is it? Do I like the guy?
Joe Villa?
Do you
Joe
like
Villa?
Oh, Villa! Leave him alone. We're talking about Jimmy Page over here. The same questions I get all day long from these other guys, and these guys aren't even being schmucks. Not to use a Jewish word, in front of,
Do you know what a schmuck is, Dave?
I've heard it enough. Thanks.
Okay.
So it was just, to me, that was the easiest interview I've ever done in my entire life, because I got to say everything I wanted to say about CM Punk in his hometown, and I knew that audience wanted to take over the show, and I knew I could beat them.
And you did.
You did.
And I knew I could take them, and I knew I could take them on a ride, and I knew that I could tell them a story, and I knew that I could promote the fight that I was being paid to promote. So it was fun. It was a challenge, and again, it was that rock god high.
I wish we had 20 more minutes.
Yeah,
I wish we had an hour more with this guy. I wish we could sit down for a day. Well, how about we have you in studio one of these days
Anytime.
so we could really talk?
Anytime.
I'll get some pastrami.
Oh, now we're talking.
How about that?
Oh,
How's that?
bagels and lox.
No, go for the pastrami.
Pastrami on. There you go.
Paul, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely.
Thanks for the time. Thank
Hey,
you
yo,
so
you
much.
know what I'm saying? Hey, Bone, what's going on? Hey, I got a guy. He's in Piscataway. You know what I'm saying?